Alhamdulillah, we are just to remind you, right? About Qurban is coming soon. What is Qurban? Udiyah? Anybody?
Isn't that help or like a sacrifice?
What is Udiyah? What is Qurban? Akram?
Is that not like a sacrifice, like food?
Yes. Right. Is it obligatory or is it a sunnah?
Sunnah.
Yeah, but depends on the madhab, right? I think Hanafi make it obligatory for whatever reasons. But in general, most of the scholars say it is a sunnah, right? What is the reward of Qurban?
Is it as if you've fed like a lot of people?
Yeah, I mean, besides that,
I don't know.
the whole weight of the sheep, including the horns and the hooves, will be weighed on the day of judgment. That is your reward on the day on the day of judgment, inshallah. This is firstly, right? Whole weight. So if your sheep happens to have big, thick horns and all this, everything, that is your reward, right? Secondly, this is one of the, if not the only act of deed in which the reward is granted even before the deed is carried out, right? So that means even before the blood reaches the ground, you already get reward for the qurbani or udiyah or sacrifice. Thirdly, every single hand or every single hair of the sheep, all this will be a reward on the day of judgment, right? So a lot of reward, right? It is a stress sunnah for those who can afford it. So yeah, you save money, inshallah, right? And do it wherever you think that you want to do it, inshallah. Okay. Now, and don't forget, this Sunday, inshallah, is perhaps it might be the last day of Shawwal. Those who have not finished the 6 days, well, you should do it quickly, inshallah, right? I won't ask who has done it, who has not done it, right? It's between you and Allah. But on the day of judgment, if you have not done it, then, and you are scrambling for good deeds, then all the best, right? Now, let's go to Surah number 2, verse number 106. Right? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. Whatever a verse do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we will bring a better one or similar to it. Know you not that Allah is able to do all things. Now, what is this nasakh or nansakh? What is this abrogation? What do you know of this? Is it important for us to understand? Brothers?
Sorry, Ustad, I didn't hear the ayah.
Now, the abrogation, are you guys eating? Anyway,
yeah.
This abrogation of the verses in the Quran. Now, the Jews, they did not believe there's such thing as abrogation, right? For us, what does abrogation means? Or nansakh? What does it mean?
Does it mean make up?
Sorry?
Doesn't it mean make up?
No.
Oh.
You must this. Right?
Akram is not fabrication.
Sorry?
Not
fabrication. Not fabrication. Abrogation.
Okay,
what is
abbreviation?
Abrogation.
Is it similar verse?
Ish, but what is important? Now, imagine, okay, brothers, and we did this discuss before on so many occasions, right? If you look in Surah number 2, right, same Surah, right, in verse number 219, for example, right, and everybody look at this, right, 219. This is regarding alcohol. Right? يسألونك عن الخمر والميسر قل فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس وإثمهما أكبر من نفعهما. right? Thus they ask you concerning alcoholic drink and gambling, say, in them is a great sin and some benefits for men, but the sin of them is greater than the benefit. No other explanations given about this. When you read this in the Quran, not knowing, let's say it's the first time you read the Quran, right? What do you gather about this?
Is
Right.
showing like step by step the
No,
problems with alcohol.
just from this verse, right? What do you gather from this about alcohol? There's no prohibition, isn't it true?
Oh,
Do you agree? Right? It's just
yeah.
about, well, it's true. There's some benefits of alcohol, right? In terms of, hygiene, swapping and all this, right? And is a great sin, right? So if first time reading the Quran, I look at this and I read, there's no prohibitions. Where is the prohibitions of alcohol? Right? Now, did Allah reveal another verse, alcohol?
Yes.
Which surah?
I don't know.
So turn to surah number 4, right? In verse number 43. Right? 443 is the second phase. Right? يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون ولا جناحا إلا عابري سبيل حتى تغتسلوا. Right? Or you believe, approach not as-salah while you are in a drunken state until you know the meaning of what you utter, nor while you are in a state of janabah, right? Except in traveling on the way, right? Until you wash your body, which means you do ghusl, right? Okay, again, let's say never read the Quran at all, right? I read this, that's now 2219, and this is quite tricky, isn't it true? 443 just now, right? Does Allah actually imply, well, if you want to do your salah, you cannot drink alcohol, but other than that, you can drink alcohol? Do you know what I mean? Right? It did say, oh, you believe, right? So we need to know, right? Approach not the salah, so do not come near the salah. Do not do the salah while you are in a drunken state, that you do not know what it means. So does that mean that second surah or second verse on the alcohol, right? Still no prohibitions, and it seems that, well, only when I'm praying or before I pray, then I cannot drink. Other than that, I may be able to drink. Isn't it true? Because there's no clear-cut things, right? Clear-cut prohibitions. And then you look in surah number 5, right? The next surah, this was An-Nisa. Surah number 5 in verse number 90 to 91. Right? Again, يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل شيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. Oh, you believe intoxicants and gambling, al-ansab and al-azlam, this is just arrows, right, for seeking luck, are abominations of shaitan's handiwork. So avoid strictly that abominations in order that you may be successful. Shaitan wants only to excite enmity and hatred between you with intoxicants and gambling and hinder you from the remembrance of Allah and from as-salah. So will you not then abstain? Right? So it takes about three verses, isn't it true? And as you know, Allah is so merciful. It's not about don't do this, don't do this. It's all about revealing in stages. So when I read now Surah number 5, verse 1991, should I consider 443 and 219 just now?
No.
So this is the final one, isn't it true? Right? So this is the order of Allah, isn't it true? Right? So this is called, what is it called?
Abrogation, probably.
Yes. So it's like canceling whatever that was revealed before. So it is important for you and I to actually, before we actually read, for example, then because we were to read Surah number 2 and Surah number 4 just about alcohol, then we might be misled, isn't it true? Right? So this is the final one about alcohol. So this is called abrogation, right? That we have to understand. So for example, in the time of Adam alayhi salam, how did they have children?
Incest.
We don't call that, isn't it true? All right. So they were allowed
Is there
to
a nicer word for it?
Precisely, you know. So in the sense that they had twins, isn't it true? Right? Twins, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, a pair of twins. But that boy, girl cannot marry each other, right? They need to marry another twin. And that is how it is, right? And obviously, because if not for that, how can they increase the population, right? So this is how it was, right? And again, after that, the ruling will come out about all this, that you cannot marry, you know, among your own siblings. Of course, they become one of the people in which you can show your what do you call it, aura and all this, right? In the Surah, I think An-Nisa, if I'm not mistaken, right? Between brothers, sisters, and all this. And then you have, for example, in the time of Nuh alayhi salam, right? In which, according to Tafseer Ibn Kathir, when they were, you know, they were saved by Allah, of course, right? And after they landed somewhere, they can eat any meat that they want, right? And then another revelation came to, as a revelation to abrogate this. Then it limits what they can eat until today, all right? And then you have Ibrahim alayhi salam, for example, right? Ibrahim alayhi salam, didn't Allah ordered him to slaughter his son, right? Or sacrifice his son? It's in the Qur'an, wasn't it true? And then he had a dream and all this, right? I think it was Surah number 5, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, all right? And then there's an abrogation. Yeah, Allah ordered him not to slaughter the son, isn't it? And replace it by an animal to slaughter, right? So this is abrogation. It's important for you and I to understand this, the abrogation, okay? So for example, right, again, turn to Surah number 2 and describe to me how would you feel, right, if this was revealed to you. What? Surah number 2 in verse number 284, right? Lillahi ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard wa in tubdu ma fi anfusikum aw tukhfuhu yuhasibukum bihillah fayaghfiru liman yasha wa yahdi man yasha wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. Right? 284, right? To Allah belongs all that in the heavens and all that is on the earth, and whether you disclose what is in yourselves or conceal it, Allah will call you to account for it. Then He forgives those whom He wills, and He punishes those whom He wills, and Allah is able to do all things. So when you read this without any knowledge of the Quran, what do you gather from this? Brothers?
Is it if you try to abbreviate something with like the ill intention, Allah would like expose it to you on Yawm al-Qiyamah?
So it's about accountability, isn't it true? Even though you are not doing it, but it's in your heart, right? Regarding girls, your eyes looking at it, and all these ears you're hearing something, but it's just in your heart, right? you will still be accountable to Allah on the Day of Judgment. That's quite harsh, isn't it true? Right? So if you read Tafsir Ibn Kathir, when this verse was revealed, what happened? Anybody? When this verse was revealed, what happened? Did the Sahaba immediately implement this? No, they were in tears, right? And they complained to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "O Messenger of Allah, we can control our actions, but what is in our heart, we can never control." Right? So what did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to them? What do you
Did
think?
he say actions are based on intentions?
No, because that's not his law. No, nothing was revealed about that. He scolded them. What did he say? Do you want to be like the children of Israel? When things were revealed to them, they disobeyed. Rather than that, right? You just need to say, Sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we obey, and Allah will make it easy for us. Right? And so they have all of them, all the Sahaba, subhanAllah, right? Even though they were so sad that, you know, a lot of accountabilities are going to happen to them from the heart, then they just say, Sami'na wa ata'na. And Allah then revealed the next verse. Right? Amana ar-rasulu bima unzila ilayhi min rabbihi wal mu'minun kullun amana billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi la nufarriqu baina ahadin min rusulihi wa qalu sami'na wa ata'na ghufranaka rabbana wa ilaikal masir. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam believes in what has been sent down to him from his Lord, and so do the believers. Then Allah revealed this, subhanallah, right? Each one believes in Allah, His angels, His books, and His messengers. They say, we make no distinction between one and another of His messengers. And they say, we hear and we obey. We seek your forgiveness, our Lord, and to you is the return of all. So only after some basic persuasions of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and some motivations, then they, okay, fine. Whatever that was revealed, we have no choice, but we just say, Sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we obey. And that's what this next verse was revealed. Then Allah, with His mercy, He revealed the last verse in the Qur'an. Right? لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. Allah do not burden a person beyond their scope. He gets reward for the good that he has earned, and he is punished for that evil which he has earned. So what does it mean in this part of the last verse of Al-Baqarah? That means only actions will be accountable, not whatever in the heart. So technically, right, 286 has abrogated 284. Isn't it true? Do you agree? Right? So this is something in which we need to understand the tafsir in order to understand how come this quite funny. 284 revealed about what is in the heart would be accountable, but yet 286 cancelled it. So this is how it is, how it was, sorry, right? In terms of the revelations. That is what the hadith also came about, right? That whoever did have an intention to do a good deed and he did not do the good deed, what is the reward? He get
one reward.
Yeah, he get not one reward. No, he would get the reward of that whole deed. Isn't it true? So if I wanted to go to the mosque, right, and I was quite early, for example, then you know traffic jams, all the underground, all this jam and all this, I was stuck. And when I went to the mosque, it happened a few times. Imam said, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I missed everything, right? So I will get the reward of the whole Jama'ah, isn't it true? As in going to the mosque, pray with the Jama'ah, I will get the whole reward, right? So if, for example, this is true intention, right? It's not just a fake intention. If I want to wake up for tahajjud, right? I slept early. I did the whole 3 calls. I did the Ayatul Kursi. I did everything. I set up alarm clock and all this, right? And then I couldn't wake up for tahajjud. Would I get one reward or reward for the whole tahajjud?
Inshallah, the whole tahajjud.
Yes, but this must be a proper. So in the sense that you cannot sleep, because tahajjud, for example, now is about, Fajr is about 2:49, isn't it true? You cannot sleep at about 2:15 and expect to wake up at 2, but for tahajjud, isn't it true? Right? For your witr or whatever you want to do, right? It must be true intention from the heart. You get the reward, right? So, but if you intend to do a good deed, and you did do the good deed, what is the reward?
Twice the intention. Oh.
At least 10 to 700 times, isn't it true? Right? 10 to 700 times. And subhanAllah, this is Allah's mercy. Right? And if you did intend to do an evil deed, and you did not do the evil deed, not because that you cannot do the evil deed, but because you fear Allah, right? So for example, right, if you want to meet your girlfriend if you're not married yet, and the only reason why you didn't meet because either you lost your phone or she lost her phone, nothing can happen, you couldn't meet, right? That doesn't fall into this, isn't it true? Because the only reason you didn't meet because you're not allowed, there's no communications to meet, where to meet, when to meet, and all this, right? Doesn't fall. But if you sincerely, okay, I fear Allah, that's why I shouldn't meet any girls and all this, whom I'm not married to, right? And you change your mind, then you get the reward. You have one reward, isn't it true? Right? But if I didn't have an intention to do an evil deed and I did do the evil deed, what is the punishment?
One sin
of that evil deed, right? There's no multiplications by 10 to 700 times. So Allah is so merciful regarding you and I, isn't it true? Right? So this is what abrogation means, right? It's about canceling one verses, right? In order to further explain or further understand, about previous verses, right? So from the verses about alcohol, Akram, which surah was alcohol? 3 verses.
5, 90 to 91.
Good. Next one.
And Nisa.
Yes.
Is it 37?
No, 443. Right. This is the second stage. The first stage, the very first one. Al-Baqarah. Right. 219.
16.
Right. 219. Right. So this explains very clearly what abrogation, which the Jews, as usual, right, never understood, and they would never agreed that there's such thing as abrogation in the Torah, right? So this is quite an important verse to understand about. There is such thing as cancellation of verse, right? But whatever things that was cancelled, everything would be in the Qur'an, so for people to understand. So always understand that when you read something, there must be in a proper context of how it was revealed. Okay? Any questions about abrogation?
Malim, is this mentioned as like progressive revelation? I remember there was like an ayah in Insan, Surah Insan. It said like, Inna nahnu nazzalna alayka al-Qur'an dhikra. Something about like progressive revelation. So does it mention it in is that linked to it, abrogation?
I'm not sure what we're talking about, but it's all about what Allah revealed, as you said, progressively, right? But eventually, you need to know what is the last revelation. I mean, the latest revelation that Allah has revealed, right? So you cannot use, some of the alcohol things is good, some are bad, but the evil parts of alcohol is bad. But there's some goodness in alcohol. So why don't honestly, right? Some people actually use this verse in order to justify to drink alcohol, right? And so this is completely wrong. All this really shows that how Allah merciful is to those people in those times, yeah, to make sure that they stop, in a sense that they gradually understand the prohibitions and stop gradually, not cold turkey, right? Even in the surah of alcohol, of Ramadan, isn't it true, about fasting, right? If you turn to surah number 2 in verse number
183.
183, right? Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu kutiba alaikumusiyam kama kutiba alal ladzina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Right? Or you believe observing Sawm is prescribed those before you as it was before you, so you may become al-muttaq. It was prescribed. It wasn't obligatory, right? So it is only in 185, right? Then Allah said, Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'an huda linnas wa bayyinatin minal huda wal furqan faman shahida minkumush shahra falyasum. Right? Then Allah revealed, yes, you must fast when there's the new moon coming up, then you must fast. Right? So again, it's all about gradual. Before the fasting of Ramadan was made obligatory to you and to this people in Medina, what was the obligation? Which fasting was obligatory?
Ashura.
Ashura, yes, right. Ashura was obligatory then, right? So this is an important things that we need to understand about abrogation. Yeah, the verses of the Quran that cancel each other, right? Now let's move on to 107. Surah number 2, 107. ألم تعلم أن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير. Right? Know you not that it is Allah to whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and besides Allah you have neither any wali nor any helper. Everything, brothers, belong to Allah. Right? Other than Allah, there's nobody else can help us, not even the best doctor. Look at COVID-19 now, right? Subhanallah, right? It is getting worse and worse in America, in South America, and all this, right? If Allah do not help you and I, you are finished completely. Look at how all these major superpowers are now on the knees, isn't it true? Right, in terms of these people are dying in America, many people are dying in South America, now in India, now second wave now coming back to China, to New Zealand from the British people, of course, from the UK, coming back in some parts of the world, in Germany, isn't it true? Right, just came back, second wave and all this. So this is something in which if Allah do not help us, that we are finished. Right? That's why one of the best surah that we should try and memorize will be on the dominion is which surah?
Is it Al-Kahf?
Al-Mulk. Isn't it true? Right? The reward of Al-Mulk, brothers, for me personally, is unmatched with many other surah in the Quran. So those who have not memorized Al-Mulk, please do memorize Al-Mulk. Not just memorize for the sake of memorizing, right? Because the reward is tremendous, isn't it true? Right? About prevention from punishment of the grave, from this Al-Mulk will intercede for us until we are forgiven, or until it causes you and I to enter Jannah. But not only that, right? And we discussed many times, it's not just about blind memory. It's about you and I. When we read something, it goes into our heart, and we really, really understood, right, what Al-Mulk means. We really, really understood, right, how Allah is the dominant one. Without Allah, you and I are not even able to drink anything at all, right? So this is how when you read Al-Mulk, you feel you're so small compared to Allah. But now when many of the human beings, we think that we are so great, isn't it true, right? Oh yeah, we come up with all this new medication and all this for COVID-19 and all these kind of things, and everything is from Allah. It's not from you, right? So do make the effort to not just to memorize, inshallah, but to understand al-mulk. And when you understand al-mulk, you will know how to react, and you will know that everything is from Allah. He controls everything. Nothing comes from you and I. Right? Oh, by the way, just to let you know, make dua for our brother Koyes. The sister has been diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her patience and grant a quick recovery of the stage 3 cancer, right? And we also have brother Sanjar, right, whose father passed away a few days ago, and brother Luan, whose uncle passed away about 2 days ago, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive the sins, shower them with His mercy, and grant the two of them, the deceased, Jannatul Firdaus. Okay. Now, so 108. ألم تريدون أن تسألوا رسولكم كما سئل موسى من قبل ومن يتبدل الكفر بالإيمان فقد ضل سواء السبيل. Or do you want to ask your messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam as Musa was asked? And he who changes faith for belief, verily he has gone astray from the right way. What did Musa alayhi salam was asked by the people?
Is it to make a god for
Right.
the
To make an idol, isn't it?
No, specifically for this verse. They wanted to see Allah, isn't it true? Why did they want to see Allah? Because they told Musa, it seems to be so smart, right? You climb up this mountain for 40 days, come back with this Torah. If Torah is really revealed to you, show us Allah, then we believe. Right?
Yeah.
So Allah is telling the people, right? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And in those people in Medina, right? Do you want to ask the messengers what happened to those people who wanted to see Allah? In time of Musa alayhi salam, sorry.
They couldn't take the power because when the light, the mountain crumbled, they like dead.
No. What happened to them? I want to see Allah. What happened to them? The people of Musa alayhi salam, the Bani Israel. What happened to them?
Did they get with a bolt?
Yes, they Allah killed not one, right? Everybody Allah wiped out. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
Right? And what was the reason why they were Allah brought them up to life again?
Was it Musa that said that? How can I explain that? Yeah, Allah killed the best people.
Yeah, can you imagine? Alhamdulillah, this was one of the best people, isn't it true? Who followed Musa alayhi salam everywhere and all this. So they were actually handpicked among those who fear Allah and all this, right? The more, equivalent to Abu Bakr, anhu, Uthman, anhu, Umar, and all this, Ali, and all this, right? But subhanallah, right? They failed dramatically, right? In terms of this, right? Now, did the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did they ask this the same thing?
They asked something like treasure, right?
About the mountain gold, isn't it? To become gold, the mountains. Isn't it?
Yeah. So what did they ask?
To bring like treasures or something.
No.
The mountain turned to gold, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Tell me what did they ask exactly? You need to know this, right? Because we have repeating at least 10 times here, right? At least. What did they ask? Oh Muhammad, we will not believe until we see these mountains turn to gold.
Okay.
We would not believe unless this whole desert becomes green. We would not believe unless the rivers running like, Thames River and all this what you see here, right? You have to know, brothers, right? You and I, we take, and this is why in this COVID-19, right? and we're going to talk about it maybe in the next few weeks, but what we have learned in COVID-19, right? You and I, we have taken things for granted, isn't it true? Like we have all this water in London, alhamdulillah, we're raining, your thunderstorms, right? But some countries, especially in those days, right, in Saudi Arabia, there's hardly any rain, right? There wasn't any, what do you call it, internet, there's no social media to know what's happening in the world, right? For them, this is their world, right? This is their world, nothing at all, dry, you know, no grass, right? This is their world. So to have this life of greeneries, of rivers, is huge to them.
It's luxury for them, yeah.
Precisely. It is unimaginable for them that such a world exists. Because of course they have not seen the UK, they haven't seen Europe in those days, early days, right? So that's why Allah always reward them in the Quran, isn't it true, right? About, you know, if you do good deeds, righteous, you believe and do righteous good deeds, we give you gardens in which rivers flow and all this, because for them it's a huge incentive, right? It's unbelievable to have such a life, such an environment where, you know, water is so easily accessible and all this, right? So that is why that was why they asked, oh Muhammad, we only believe, right? We have these three things: the mountains turn to gold, the greeneries, right, and the rivers. What did Muhammad ﷺ say?
You still not believe?
Well,
he said you'll still not believe or something.
No, he didn't say that at all. What did he say? And I'm sure Adam, I've said this a few times, didn't I, Adam?
Yeah. But I think he's asked Allah, and then Allah said, "Okay, I'll give them what they want." But if
yes,
they don't,
he actually asked Allah, because he wouldn't know how to say. He wouldn't know how to be, you know, he didn't know whether it's going to be granted or not. He did ask Allah. What did Allah say?
I will grant them what they want. But if they don't believe, I will punish them. That punishment never happened before.
Yes, that if after I grant them all this, if they were to disobey me, I will punish them with a punishment that has never seen before. Or you would want my mercy. Of course, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, thought about it, and immediately he said, no need to show all this. Just show us your mercy. That means you and I, brothers, we will forget. Isn't it true? Right? Not too long ago, Ramadan was just over. We cry, you know. I can guarantee you, right? Now people, oh, I miss the mosque so much. I don't understand why one person was in YouTube just 1 or 2 days ago in Qatar. He was running to the mosque. You're not supposed to run to the mosque, right? Was running to the mosque and he was so happy, right? I can guarantee you, right? Once the mosque is open, within a few days we forget about all this. Isn't it true? That we miss the mosque so much, we take it for granted, and it's literally, brothers, worshipping in the mosque now becomes so treasured now, right? But all this be forgotten because we are humans. We were made to forget, right? Now we have we miss the mosque, we miss each other, and all this. Oh, you know, there's all these tears and all this. But after a few days, we will forget. It's our human beings now, right? And therefore, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam decided, right? Well, right, I'd rather not have all this. But whenever we make any mistakes, Allah will show us mercy. Okay, that was why one of the three groups of people who was punished or who would be punished in the lowest level of hellfire would be, number one,
the Pharaoh and his people.
Yes, the Pharaoh and the people, right? Secondly,
Abu Jahl?
People.
No, not Abu Jahl. The hypocrites, right?
Yeah.
Right, in Surah number 4, I think if I'm not mistaken, 4 verse number 145, if I'm not mistaken, right? They will be the lowest level of hellfire. The third one?
The people who asked for the plate, the table.
The Ma'idah.
And they disbelieved.
Right, the table of food. Why did they deserve to be in the lowest level of hellfire?
They got what they asked for. And
because they asked for
lied.
it. They asked for it, right? And they were granted. The whole table came down as an intro, right? And many of them after that they disbelieved, right? Now, so this is it, right? In a sense that we
Sheikh, what about the people of Thamud? Where do they come into all this?
Thamud, what happened to Thamud?
Well, they asked for the camel and they killed it. So do they come into that same category as well?
Obviously, they would, even though it is not mentioned that they're the last in any verse of the Quran, they're in the lowest level of hellfire, but from all these examples, they would be in the lowest because they asked for it. What did they ask exactly?
The Al-Shi camel, young,
What did they ask?
and come out the rock.
Sorry?
From the rock.
No, very specific. What did they ask?
Like 12-month pregnant.
A 10-month-old, a 10-month-old pregnant, red she camel coming from this rock. Not any other rock.
Idea though, Sheikh.
This rock. All right. What is it?
How do they come up with all the idea though? Like 10 years old, pregnant, red.
Because that was a luxury item in those days. Very difficult. Okay. And the worst thing, right? They underestimate. They do not know who Allah is. Allah can just say kun fayakun. That's it. Is there? Isn't it true? But they do not know who Allah is, right? And then came out from this rock, and of course Allah produced it. And you know, Brother Sufyan, of course, all right. Judging from all this, even though it's not written down in any hadith and all this, but they would be because they have challenged Allah. Yeah, knowing that Allah is our Rabb. Rabb means it can produce anything, right? Our maintainer, sustainer, and all this, right? It's no problem for Allah. If Allah can create the whole universe, right? Why couldn't Allah create this silly camel from this coming from this rock? It's nothing to Allah. Okay. Now, from this verse, right, brothers, right, we can also say, right, that in those days, right, we shouldn't ask too many questions, right? If you look in Surah number 5, verse number 101, right? 5101, Allah warned us, right? 101, right? يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم وإن تسألوا عنها حين ينزل القرآن تبد لكم عفى الله عنها والله غفور حليم. O you who believe, do not ask about things which if they were made plain to you may cause you trouble. If you ask about them while the Quran is being revealed, they will be made plain to you. Allah has forgiven that, and Allah is often forgiving, most forbearing. Now, in those days especially, I'm not talking about you and I, right? Why is really disliked? And listen to this hadith, right? And it's sahih, right? Prophet Muhammad said, the greatest criminal among the Muslims is the one who asks if a thing is prohibited. At that point of time, it's not prohibited, and then it becomes prohibited because of the question. Right? So this is it, right? And in another hadith, right, Prophet Muhammad said, "Leave me as I leave you." All of us, leave me as I leave you. Those before you were only destroyed because of the excessive questioning and disputing with their prophets. Therefore, when I commanded you with a matter, adhere to it as much as you can. When I forbid from something, avoid it. So that means if nothing is written whether you should do or not, then just say to shut up, right? Because in those days, if we were to ask, and because of that question you cannot do it, then it becomes an issue, isn't it true? It's just like the Bani Israel we talked just now last time about. Allah just asked them simply slaughter a cow, right? If they were to just carry out the command, any cow, small cow, a medium cow, right, cow that is sick and all this, just slaughter a cow. No, but because they ask questions, so the choice becomes narrower and narrower and narrower. And in that part of the verse, which I think we discussed before. Yeah, we discussed before, right? That they almost couldn't find a cow because too many questions that the choice was narrowed down, right? The same thing as one of the Sahaba was asking Prophet Muhammad SAW, Hajj, do we need to do every year? No, Muhammad SAW was just very, very quiet. Question again, do we need to do every year? He was just very quiet. Then do we need to do every year? The Muhammad was quite fed up. He said, no. If I were to say every year, then it would create so much problems, right? People would not be able to perform it, isn't it true? And that's what, with Allah's wisdom, Muhammad SAW was able to perform Hajj only once, isn't it true? Right? And he died in the following year. If he were to be alive the following year, subhanAllah, he did another Hajj, it becomes like an obligation, isn't it true? That's why Muhammad SAW, for example, in the Tarawih prayer, right? He only did 3 times in the congregation, isn't it true? And then he went inside, and he didn't do again at all for the whole Ramadan. Not because he didn't want to, but he didn't want you and I to be obligated to do it, to become an obligation to do the tahajjud or to Tarawih prayer, subhanAllah. So this is something in which don't ask too many questions, right? The Quran is as it is, right? Whatever things that is not written down is because of Allah's mercy. If Allah is not merciful, He would be very specific. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very specific. But Allah, some parts, things are not mentioned. Then just look into the hadith. If there's nothing at all, then that's it. Leave it as it is. No need to ask so many questions that in the end, the ruling would be revealed because of the questioning. Okay, any questions? Brothers? That doesn't mean that, of course, you cannot ask. You can ask questions, of course, right? But don't ask excessive questions, right? Because sometimes in the time of Prophet ﷺ, that's why when you read it, Ibn Kathir, it's quite funny sometimes, right? Because the Sahaba knew about this, right? So they never ask questions, even though they want to know the answer, right? But they will be very happy if the Bedouins are always depicted as this simpleton and always disobeying Allah, right? The Bedouins always ask the silly questions, but the answers that they got, the Sahaba learned a lot of lessons from them, right? But in general, they seldom ask ridiculous questions, but they did look forward to some questions by the Bedouins in those days. Okay? Any questions? Right, let's continue, inshallah. Right? In verse 98, يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Know that Allah is severe in punishment and that Allah is often forgiving, the most merciful. 99. مَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا تُبْدُونَ وَمَا تَكْتُمُونَ. The duty of the Messenger ﷺ is nothing but to convey, and Allah knows all that you reveal and all that you conceal. Same thing as you and I, brothers, right? That's why when you give da'wah, when you enjoin good, forbid evil, our job is just to convey the message. Isn't it true? I remember when I first started doing all this, right? Doing da'wah. I first started when I was in law school, right? 2004, and I was in the WAMI, World Assembly of Muslim Youth, helped them with the exhibitions. This is my first attempt ever, right? Then alhamdulillah, from Allah, of course, that my classmate took shahada, right? He was so fast, right? He did everything so fast. He did the salah very fast. Within about 1 week, he was praying 5 times a day. Everything he could recite well in terms of the Al-Fatiha and all this, right? Everything went so well. Second person, I was trying to help, right? Subhanallah, right? After he took the shahada, which was quite of a sudden, right? And it was so difficult for me to understand why he couldn't do the prayer, why he didn't do this, didn't do this. It was only until about at least 10 or 15 years later that he came to me without me asking, oh, I have done 5 times a day, alhamdulillah. So, so all I'm trying to say is that the job, your job and my job is just to convey the message, isn't it true? So we shouldn't be disappointed, or we shouldn't expect a lot from the people whom we are helping, whether it is alhamdulillah, you're helping in Iqra and all this, right? Everything comes from Allah, right? In terms of whether they are going to listen to what you say or not. Our job is just to convey the message in the best of manner, inshallah, right? And Allah knows what is in the heart. I remember just talking about this to one of my person called in the mosque who were calling me just now, right? One brother, revert brother, who took shahada perhaps about 5 to 6 years ago. When he took his shahada, subhanallah, right? Always with me, even when I was that time I was used to work in Leicester Square, was waiting for me in my office, and I finished, and then we do Iqra together in my office. Was able to read the Qur'an, praying 5 times a day, and all this. Everything is amazing, right? Now, don't think he's a Muslim, right? Should I be upset? A little bit, but that's not my problem, right? In the sense that, right, brothers, with you and me, if you want anything, if you need any help, just come, right? And I just advise you. If it's up to you whether you want to listen or not, right? If you don't listen, then it's up to you, right? Nobody's forcing you. Our job is just to remind. We are not there to guide. Only Allah guides, right? Same thing as another brother. Ages until I was almost vomit blood, asking to pray, never prayed at all. Suddenly had a call from Czech Republic saying that, oh, I'm praying 5 times a day. That was, and subhanallah, right? A lot of improvements. It's not me, it's Allah anyway, right? So we just need to be patient with people, right? Because I know some brothers have, alhamdulillah, doing all this good job in making da'wah and all this, doing da'wah to people to shahada and all this, but your job is just to convey the message as best as possible. We are not there to guide them to the right path. Only Allah guides. Any questions? Clear? Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
If someone is a Muslim,
yes,
and then they live like a life quite a longer life, I don't know, up to a certain amount of time. So they're a well-known Muslim, and then they leave Islam, and then they come back. Are all their sins forgiven?
What do you think?
It is, but I was just thinking people might take advantage of it.
It is, but Akram,
No, but
Akram, you have to know, right? Hold on. You have to know the ability to come back to Islam is never from you. It's not from Allah. The fact you come back to Islam, actually, alhamdulillah, it's all Allah's mercy, right? It does take a lot of courage, a lot of, what do you call it? Mental stress and all this. But it's like, people can just know that, oh, Allah's Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, right? I can just do this. Don't worry, I can just ask Allah for forgiveness. But that asking Allah for forgiveness may never come, isn't it? We might die in that state. We do not know, right? Sorry, Elmi, what was you going to say?
no, I was gonna say, like Akram said, people might take an advantage, but then again, Allah is the all-knowing, all-wise, because He knows what's in your heart, what's your plan. Is like the people of Sabat, they try to trick Allah and put the nets on Friday, and it's the same.
Which was what Allah said in the verse we just recited, right? Allah knows all that's in all that you reveal and all that you conceal. And exactly in the same verse, which we did in Surah Al-Baqarah, right? In Surah number 2. Right, in Surah number 2, in verse number 33, isn't it true? This was just the verse before Allah exposed Iblis, right? How deceitful he was, right? In the last bit of Surah number 2, verse number 33, right? 33, yes. Yeah. Inni a'lamu ghaiba samawati wal ard wa a'lamu ma tubduna wa ma kuntum taktumun. Allah knows everything in your heart, right? Now, as to answer your question, if, let's say me, right, if I were to do all these silly things, even shirk and all this, if I were to ask forgiveness, what's going to happen to all my deeds?
Void, innit? It's gone, innit? Like, finish.
No, okay, fine. I did all this, but then I want to come back to Allah. I repent to Allah. What is going to happen to all my deeds? All my sins, sorry.
It turns to good, innit? Like, Allah will replace it with...
Why did Allah say this? Akram.
Is it in Surah Anbiya?
No. Turn to Surah number 25, right? In verse number 70, right? Illa man taba wa amana wa amila amalan salihan fa ulaika yubaddilullahu sayiatihim hasanat wa kana Allahu ghafurur rahima. Except those who repent and believe and do good righteous deeds, Allah will change their sins into good deeds. All the sins, brothers.
Which ayah?
25, verse number 70.
Okay.
Allah will change their sins into good deeds, and Allah is ever often forgiving, the most merciful. You know what's my next question, isn't it?
No.
When was it revealed?
How was it revealed?
How? Was it towards the end when the Prophet ﷺ, the Quraysh, some of them were saying that we've done sins so bad, and they were not like, they wanted to become Muslim.
What did they do?
They killed their children. Remember, the girls, buried them alive.
Yeah, so they were telling Muhammad, oh Muhammad, what you said about Allah is so good. But would Allah forgive our sins? We kill the girls, we worship idols, right? We fornicate, right? And then Allah revealed this. And which verse?
Is it the one in Zumar? The
yes.
50 something.
50 what?
3.
Yeah, 39:53. يقول يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Say, my slaves who have transgressed against themselves, do not despair of the mercy of Allah, for Allah forgive all sins. He is indeed often forgiving, the most merciful. Okay, so yeah, so it clearly shows that Muhammad is here, right? You know Muhammad who I was referring to, right?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, your secret, my secret. Yeah, but yeah, so these are the things that can happen, right? In fact, when the second person took shahada, we were there, isn't it true? In the coffee shop.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Right, and this is how Allah is. And you and I, brothers, we have to be worried about whether tomorrow we are going to be a believer, we are going to be a hypocrite. Everything's from Allah, right? We need to continuously ask Allah to guide us all the time. Okay. Now, so let's continue. In verse number 109. Yeah. All right. Surah number 2, verse number 109. وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يَرُدُّونَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا حَسَدًا مِّنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الْحَقُّ فَاعْفُوا وَاصْفَحُوا حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Many of the people of the scriptures, the Jews and the Christians, wish that if they could turn you away as disbelievers after you have believed, out of envy and from their own selves, even after the truth has been manifest to them, right? They would do it, right? If they have the ability to turn you and I from the straight path, they will do it, right? But what did Allah say? Forgive and overlook till Allah brings His command. Verily, Allah is able to do all things. Right? So Allah did say in the beginning, right? Always remember about abrogation, right? In the beginning, Allah said, forgive and overlook. Until Allah brings what? The command. The command is in Surah number 9. It was when in those days, when jihad was obligated for the Muslims, right? Then this verse doesn't play any role at all. Right? But of course, it's always about forgiving and overlooking, right? But for this particular thing, right, in terms of how they deliberately bend the truth and all this, they deliberately change the Torah and the Injil and all this, right? You and I know that the children of Israel, right, for whatever reasons, right, they would see Isa alayhi salam and Muhammad as the enemies, isn't it true? Right? So this is something in which, and they cause so much problems. What are the three main Jewish races in Medina again? Brothers,
Aus and Khazraj.
Sorry? Aus?
And Khazraj, was it Khazraj or no?
Yeah, Aus, and that is not the Jewish tribes. These were the Arabs. Oh. These are the polytheists, right? The three of them, Banu Qurayza, Banu Qaynuqa, and Banu An-Nadir, the three of them, right? They caused so much problems, right, in the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we got no choice, right? Because they were the ones who are continuously they attack the Muslims, isn't it true, right? So the verse will be abrogated in Surah number 9, verse number 29, right? You can look for yourself about the jihad, right? 110. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. And perform as-salah and give zakat, and whatever of good you send forth for yourselves before you, you shall find it with Allah. Certainly, Allah is all seer of what you do. So this verse is, of course, for us, right? Perform salah, perform zakat. When whatever good we send for to Allah, we will see it. What did Allah say in the Quran? Which verse did Allah say in the Quran then? Whatever small things that we do, we'll see it.
Zilzal.
Zilzala.
Zalzala, right? In Surah number 99. Yeah. Right? The last two verses, what?
99.
Yes. What did they say? Yes. فَمَا يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَا يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. Whoever so does a good equal to the width of an atom shall see it, and whoever does an evil equal to the width of atom shall see it. Everything, brothers, we will see on the day of judgment, right? And nothing will be left unturned. Everything on the day of judgment will be left. That's why, honestly, right? Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward those people who are fasting and all this, right? People may ask, why you're fasting? You know, it's so tight and all this. SubhanAllah, brothers, right? If we know, if we were to understand how much you and I, right, on the day of judgment, we will be scrambling for each of the deeds that we have done. We will be searching for the deeds that we have done, right? All this fasting and all this helping others and all this, it's no big deal, right? Because we will see it, inshallah, on the day of judgment. So don't see the short-term thing. Oh, I'm so tired. No, you need to see the long-term results or long-term reward in the hereafter. Isn't it true? Right? What happens if you do a voluntary deed? Allah will love us more. Isn't it true? Then we just do obligatory deeds, so much that He becomes the eyes and the ears that, and the feet and the arms that we use. Right? When Allah loves us, what else can happen? He will
Jannah, isn't it?
He will tell Jibril, right?
Yeah.
He will tell Jibril. When I first heard the hadith, it's amazing, right? He will tell Jibril, I love this person. And Jibril will also tell all the angels. That's why, brothers, right? Inshallah, we are among those people, right? When our soul leave the body, right? Where would we go firstly? All the 7 layers of sky, isn't it true? Right? And each sky, everybody would be praising us. Everybody says, who is this amazing soul? And everybody would be inviting us to enter the heaven, right? Because they heard so much about us. But we cannot enter, of course, right? Then we go to the next level, and who is this amazing soul? And all this. They want to know our names and all this. And these are the angels, subhanAllah, whom they have been making dua for you and I. They have always been, supporting you and I, unknowingly to you and I, right? And because when the angels make dua for us, it is just like, for example, of course, right? Allah would save Yunus alayhi salam, right? When Yunus alayhi salam said, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minal zalimin, right? La ilaha illa anta, none has right to worship but you, subhanaka inni, glorified are you, inni kuntu minal zalimin, I've been a wrongdoer. When he made this dua sincerely, all the angels went to Allah, isn't it true? Right? And they were asking Allah, aren't you going to answer the dua of your righteous slave and all this, right? So this is important, right? That don't see the short-term effect of things. Right? I'm so tired. I didn't wake up for sahur. I cannot fast. But subhanAllah, the long-term reward is amazing, isn't it true? Inshallah. One day of fasting itself, let's say it is a door of hellfire. 70 years is a lot, right? And inshallah, may Allah reward us. So those people who have been fasting for 6 days in Shawwal and all this, right? As if we fast for the whole year. So in general, you wouldn't see it, isn't it true? The hard work until in the hereafter. For example, right? I think it was one of the brothers, won't mention the names, of course, right? Every year, so every day he would save 5 pounds, 5 pounds, 5 pounds, 5 pounds. And eventually, I think after a few years, that money in the box, he was able to use it to go to Hajj, subhanAllah. Just by every day saving 5 pounds. And you wouldn't realize it because you have been doing all the time anyway, right? So this is exactly the same thing, inshallah, for you and I on the Day of Judgment. We will just have to claim our deeds from Allah, inshallah, right? That well, at least I've done my best. There's nothing more physically that I can do in order to please Allah. I've done whatever things that it can. Fasting, helping the poor, helping others. So all these kind of things, we just have to work hard while we are still alive. Because once the angel of death comes, that's it. Right? It's game over, isn't it true? That we can't even persuade Allah to extend our lives. Right? So let's finish off, inshallah. 111. وَقَالُوا لَنْ يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارَى تِلْكَ أَمَانِيُّهُمْ قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And they say, none shall enter paradise unless he be a Jew or a Christian. These are their own desires. Say, produce your proof if you are truthful. Everybody thinks that they're going to paradise, isn't it true? Right? In fact, you and I know that there's no such thing as Jews or Christians, isn't it true? Everyone is supposed to be a Muslim, right? Muslim, as the meaning goes, complete submission to Allah. So the people in the time of Isa alayhi salam, it is submitted to Allah, submitted to the verses that were revealed in the Injil. Yeah, they are Muslims. People in the time of Musa alayhi salam, if they were submitting to Allah and to things in the Torah that was revealed, they were Muslims. Everyone is a Muslim. There's no such thing as Jews and Christian. It's a term coined by them. Okay? And this is what they say, right? Without any evidence, none can enter paradise unless he be a Jew or a Christian. Completely. Right? They will be shocked, honestly, right? On the Day of Judgment, right? They will know the truth. Who will be the who will inherit Jannah. And may Allah subhanAllah make you and I the ones who will inherit Jannatul Firdaus. Now, the last verse, 112. بَلَى مَنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ فَلَهُ أَجْرُهُ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِ وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Yes, but whoever submits his face to Allah and he is a muhsin, then his reward is with his Lord. On such shall there be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Now, who is a muhsin? Allah did not say Muslim, yeah? Allah said muhsin. How would one classify as a muhsin, muhsinun, right? What is the meaning?
Is it someone who like believes in Allah, like, and not like dependent on like the era, like for example being in like the time of the Prophet, like throughout the whole of history?
No, it's not. But there is a definition, isn't it? Through Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. Is it? What does Ihsan means?
Oh, when you do good, but then like you feel like you do it because of the love of Allah, and then you don't do it because you feel like Allah will punish you.
No.
Or you like you worship Allah as if you see Him.
Yeah, so you worship Allah as if you see Him, but if you can't see Him, like many of us, right? We know that He's always observing us, right? He will always see us, and that is a sign of a muhsin, right? So this is important, yeah, for all of us to understand. It's not just about submission, but having this kind of awareness, like right, COVID-19, correct? And I know some people, and I don't understand, right? And not because of arrogance, but I just understand, right? Whether you are in the mosque or not in the mosque, you are still worshiping Allah, isn't it true? It's not that we have a choice. We are still at home. So that the quality of prayer at home and in the mosque is supposed to be similar, isn't it true, brothers? Right? In fact, Allah is so merciful. Now we are praying here in our home for our prayers with our family. We will get rewarded as if we pray in the mosque. Do you agree? Anybody disagree?
Yes.
Right? And this is very important to understand this, right? That in these past 3 months, Allah is so merciful to us. We get all this reward in Ramadan and all this, even though we are relaxing at home. And I think for me personally, this Ramadan is the best Ramadan ever because, yes, the mosque is not there, but as I said so many times before, our submission to Allah must not just depend on the mosque. Submission is from the heart. And this is where it's supposed to be, isn't it true? Not the mosque, right? Undoubtedly, of course, you and I, we miss the mosque, right? That thing, but we shouldn't be affected that much that just because the mosque is closed, our iman also goes down. And that doesn't make sense. Okay? So lastly, right? Allah also described a few people who are muhsinun, right? If you look in Surah number 3, right? In verse number 134, right? 134. What qualities do they have? Right? الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. Right? Those who spend in prosperity or in adversity. Number one, right? Whether you need this, because we know from hadith that the best charity is always given by the one who actually need the money. Isn't it true? Right? That's the best charity. Okay. Next one, who represses anger. Again, anger, very, very easily committed, right? But those who repress anger, right, will be among those whom Allah labeled as a muhsinun, right? And those who forgive men, right? Verily, Allah said, yuhibbul muhsinin, right? Allah loves those people who are the good doers. Okay? So these are just a few qualities of those who, you and I, we hope that we will be among those people whom Allah labeled as a muhsinun. Any questions? Brothers, questions? Everybody clear? Okay, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our deeds in the month of Ramadan, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to grant us His blessings, yeah, rizq, right? Understanding of the deen, right? The truth will be the truth, the falsehood will be falsehood. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of us, grant all of us good health, right? And protect us from all these illnesses. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us Jannatul Firdaus. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow on topic about shirk tomorrow, right? At about 6 o'clock tomorrow. Okay? Shirk, very important. Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.